long has it been before Kasaanda comes up with a reaction to what she heard?
Oh man, I feel like as he's talking, it doesn't make any sense. Like, okay, all right, you're the Arishok. You went to go see somebody. That's fine. Wait,
Hang on a second.
no, it wasn't just any child that you visited. Like, it all starts to come together. Like, I reach for my neck, like instinctively, like, oh shit, I remember. I used to wear that. Oh my god.
So you do remember?
I would say I remember I remember the what was it, the tooth that he gave me the present.
The tooth, yes.
Yeah, the tooth. But I hadn't remembered like where I got it. It was just it's something that I'd gotten so used to wearing, and then it was gone, and then I forgot about it.
I should mention, they don't talk about this until Inquisition, and I know you haven't played Inquisition yet. So if you romance Iron Bull, you learn that the only, like, really intense emotional customs that the Kunari have is when you find someone you care about, you take a dragon tooth and you break it in half, and each of you take a piece. You hold it on your necklace.
Oh, no.
But here's the thing, Sten did not give you half of a dragon tooth. He gave you the entire dragon tooth.
The whole thing, yeah.
Which is an interesting inversion of the custom.
Yeah, now, with the context, like, I'm going on a facial journey, like, mouth just, like, opening and closing, and, like, clasping my neck, and then, like, what?
Yeah, the Arishok seems, he's noticing the way your hand keeps going to your neck. And you can tell he doesn't want to bias you in any way. Like, if you are going to remember him, he wants you to remember him.
Right.
So he's keeping his facial features very schooled, and he's just kind of watching in silence as you go through this long journey in the deepest recesses of your memory.
And then, very, very quietly, Atashi?
There's, like, a lot happens on his face, and then he abruptly schools them all off. He says, "That was many years ago. I am impressed that you remember."
I don't know if I would call it remember so much as the tooth.
Yes.
And that word.
Yes.
Woo! There's like a lot going through her head, like, holy shit, what?
Eventually he kind of, he drums his fingers on the table and he says, "I want you to know that I do not hold you to any obligation. Now that you know. I would have felt dishonest if I had kept it from you any longer than was necessary. I do not hold you to anything. What you do with this information is your decision alone. Although I will ask, and he pauses, do you still have it?"
I shake my head. I don't know what happened to it after I became Cerebus.
I see. Eventually he nods and he says, I will see if I can locate it. I had not known that it was missing.
Missing, taken, what does it matter?
He eyes you like he's waiting for you to elaborate upon that point.
It doesn't change anything. It doesn't change what I've gone through. It was a gift. The only gift I'd ever received until recently. And I, like, sort of eye May out of the corner of my eye.
May delicately clears her throat. And she eventually says, "Oh, I'm Mayveris Tylani. Very nice to meet you." Just sort of awkwardly waving. The Arishok does not deign to answer that. He just sort of stares at her and, like, inclines his head briefly and then looks back at you. And he says, "I have no further questions for you. All I wanted to do was assure that you are safe and that you are happy. Now that I have done so, I suppose there's nothing further for us to talk about." And then he looks at you expectantly, like everything he's done so far, right, has been an effort to prove that he is not going to force this on you. Like, He requested your presence. He didn't demand it. He didn't kidnap you. And he is letting you take the reins on this. All he wanted to do was ensure your safety and your happiness, and he's done that now. And anything further, clearly he's leaving it up to you.
Right, which is so wild.
Yep, it's pretty. It's an unusual stance for a Kunari to take, especially the Arishok.
It's like, things are up to you. Like, oh, I get to decide. That's new. There's a lot to think about, and after a long pause, I'm just like, I do have questions, but there was a reason I came to see you.
He inclines his head as if in deference, like, okay, ask away.
We have very recently disbanded the Grey Wardens.
His expression kind of clouds, and he says, I did not realize you had the authority to do such a thing.
Not us specifically, but the Inquisitor, and there is still a blight.
He sits up a little straighter. He says, excuse me?
Yes.
A blight?
Yes. We saw the archdemon with our own eyes.
He has a very strange look on his face as he processes this information, and he says, I was present during the last blight. It nearly destroyed Ferelden. You're telling me another one has begun so soon?
I am, and more. This time I glance at Zevran, whom I brought with us for a purpose.
Eventually, Zevran looks at you looking at him, and he kind of sighs and he says, alright, I guess it's on me then, is it? You really think he'd be more likely to say yes to me? Apparently you're his daughter.
Apparently.
Zevran just sighs. He's like, alright, fine. He turns back to the Arishok and he says, we need troops. And the Arishok, he does keep his features very controlled, and he says, I trust you understand that it will be extraordinarily difficult for me to get a consent at the Triumvirate.
We do know, but the need is great, and
I also assume you know that a blight has never hit Parvalan. The others, the Arakya and the Aragena, they've never seen a blight, not like I have.
That is true. There is another piece of information we have not yet told you about Ren Sabrae.
Zevran kind of looks at you like he was not expecting you to bring this up. Zevran picks you, grabs you by the shoulder, says, a moment, Arishok. And then he drags you to the, just outside the door of the room.
Mm.
He says, as soon as the door closes, he says, are you absolutely sure about this?
I'm sure.
You realize that means he's going to be coming to the Pavus estate, yes? He's going to be in our lives more permanently, correct? Please tell me this occurred to you at some point.
It did.
He says, I don't want you to do this reluctantly, alright? I want to tell him. I saw firsthand the relationship that he had with Ren. He called him Basalit An. He called him Kadan. And if you don't know what those mean, Basalit An, and this is also for the viewers, I suppose, Basalit An is a term that Kunari use for non-Kunari who they deem to have some concept of honor. It literally means a thing that has honor. Because anyone who's not at the Kyun is Baz, is a thing. But on very rare occasions, like I believe Hawk was called Basalit An as well, right. Someone who proves themselves in character and in battle, they can be Basalit An. And Kadan, that's a very strong term. If the Arishok called Ren Sabrae Kadan, that's a lot. That means they were very close. He considered him like a comrade in arms.
Yeah, and upon hearing that, like, that definitely solidifies my decision, and I did not know they were that close. In that case, it makes this all the more necessary.
He says, all right, if you're sure.
I am.
He nods, and then he looks at the door. He says, do you want to be here when I tell him? I'd understand if you want to, take a moment to process all of this.
I should be there.
If you insist. And he pulls open the door again, and he heads back inside. And the Arishok looks appropriately confused. And Tulgan had been sitting there just off. Like, He is so uncomfortable. Luckily, Maeveris is with him, and Maeveris is already just making small talk, and the Airshok does not know how to make small talk. Like Maeveris's charms are so effective on absolutely everyone except Kunari.
Right. The Kunari, like, we don't do small talk. What are you doing? Stop it.
She's floundering for the first time. Like,
oh,
poor
baby. Like, oh, the curtains in this room are lovely. I did not select the curtains. I know. Oh, thank God, Zevran! Zevran crosses the room, and he doesn't sit back down, but he puts both hands on the edge of the table and sort of leans forward, and he says, Stand at a shock. That is something you should know. Long story short, the Arishok is stunned by what Zevran tells him, and he agrees at once. Like, as soon as you'll have him, he wants to come and see him. He feels that strongly about seeing Ren that he's like, yeah, like, I'll go right now if you want me to. And Zevran's like, that might not be a good idea tactically. You're the Arishok and you'll be walking through the middle of Minrathis. Like, that's a bad plan.
Maybe don't do that, yeah.
Maybe at least wait until nightfall, please.
Yeah.
But yeah, they make plans, and the Arishok agrees to come and visit. What's the ride back to the Pavis estate like then?
It's mostly me processing, but also, like, quietly, I guess, thanking Zevran and then looking at Maeveris like, curtains? Really?
I panicked! He's very scary. He's like 10 feet tall and nothing but muscle.
I know. I've never seen you out of your element like that.
It doesn't work on him. Why doesn't it work on him? It works on everyone.
Because he is Kunari.
It works on you.
I sort of like open and close my mouth like, that's different.
If you say so, darling. Elyan.
Yeah?
You are having a very, very nice dream.
Oh.
It's really, really good. You are sitting out in the back of the Pavis estate, with all of your friends, which is who?
I think of the group as my friends now. So I'm assuming Kasaanda is there, and I guess Sabrae.
I guess.
Maybe.
Obviously Leander is there.
Yeah, he sure is. He was all the way there, if you know what I mean.
Nice.
And it's a really nice, tranquil scene. You specifically are sitting under one of the large orange trees. The back of the Pavis estate has 3 orange trees that they harvest when they come into the season. With Leander, and you're talking, and you don't really know what you're saying, but it's like, it's not important, right? It's a dream.
Yeah.
And you're both sitting, leaning against the trunk of this orange tree, idly chatting and shooting the breeze, and it's so nice. And then a voice from behind you, on the other side of the tree says, Elyan?
I glance over my shoulder.
It is Compassion. He still looks kind of raggedy, still kind of squirrely, a little bit twitchy, almost. But he is staring at you with those very large, earnest eyes.
Hello.
Hi. He looks at Leander, and then he looks back at you, and he says, wow, good night, huh?
Yeah. Elyan just kind of feels a little nervous, because, like, Dorian has been emphatic of, like, don't converse with spirits, and I haven't had a chance to talk to, Lannon about any of this, or anything, so, like...
Compassion kind of scoots around you, so he's not sitting on, like, the opposite side of it, because it's, like, a pretty narrow... trunk, right? It's just a little personal orange tree. So he kind of scoots around to sit in front of you on his knees in the dirt, and he says, I keep hearing, I mean, you haven't really let me in, so it's really hard to hear or see anything, but I hear something about how you're gonna do a ritual for him, right? And he looks at Leander, who has not noticed that the two of you are talking, and he just continues to exist in this pleasant dream state.
Non-committal,
He says, do you know anything about it? I might be able to help.
I've been told not to ask for help.
What do you mean?
I mean, you're a spirit.
I'm not a spirit.
That's not more reassuring.
Well, I don't know how to make it more reassuring. I'm just telling you the truth. I'm not a spirit. I'm a soul.
What?
You know, a soul. I was once in a physical body, and then it was... And he sort of stares hard into the middle distance like he's trying to remember. He says, I don't remember how it happened. I suppose I must have died, but I can't recall how.
So, but I thought that everything in the Fade was either a spirit or a demon.
He looks around and he says, well, I mean, most of the things here are spirits. That's true. I don't see any demons around here. But no, I'm not like them. I once possessed a physical body. And then something happened, and I guess I died somehow, or I got separated from my physical form. I used to be a person. Spirits were never people.
What do you want from me?
I want to help you. I thought I told you that.
But why?
He stares at you in confusion and he says, why not?
I'm not used to strangers offering to help.
He says, well, maybe I'm a stranger to you, but I've been in your head for a while now, so you're not really a stranger to me. He says, I've been watching what you've been doing and how your relationships have developed and the story that you've been telling, or at least as best as I can. Like I said, without you letting me in, it's very difficult for me to know exactly what's going on. He says, I just want to help you. It's all I'm really good at.
But what would you expect from me? I'm not used to nothing works just as nothing for nothing.
Why? Why do you expect some reciprocity? Why can't you just accept a gift? I just want to help you, Elyan.
Is there any kind of, insight type of thing I can do?
I guess there's empathy. Empathy is a skill. So yeah, with 6, he seems completely earnest. He seems like he genuinely, completely wants to help you for no other reason than it is a good thing to do. Which, with a name like Compassion, I'm just saying it tracks.
How would you propose to help me?
He says, well, can you tell me anything about this ritual? I knew a whole lot about magic, specifically healing magic. And if you can tell me anything about what they plan to do to help him, I bet I could improve the ritual.
I think Elyan just kind of looks over at the Leander spirit. Just conflicted. I don't understand most things about magic. A lot of this is beyond me.
Yeah, that's weird.
Why is that weird?
Why would you not know about magic? It's a natural force of the world.
I'm not a mage?
What's a mage?
Didn't we go through this last time?
Maybe, yeah. It's starting to sound a little bit familiar. I don't know what a mage is, but you should know about magic. It's one of the fundamental forces in the world, and it's important to understand.
I don't know. They said they were potentially, I don't know, calling on a spirit for help, but a certain spirit. I literally don't know.
Well, there are a lot of benevolent spirits that might be able to heal what's broken in him, Compassion says, kind of scooting over and looking at Spirit Leander a little more closely. He says, they'd have to be careful. Not all spirits are benevolent. How about this? And he turns back to you and he says, right before the ritual starts, say my name, and just for a couple minutes, I'll use your eyes and I'll watch what they do. And then I'll be able to figure out maybe if it can be improved upon or any alterations that the spell could take. Because it doesn't sound like anyone's particularly confident that this ritual is going to succeed.
Elyan hates this. But seriously, what do you want from me?
I just told you I want to use your eyes for a little bit so I can watch the ritual.
That's it?
Yes.
Nothing else?
Listen, Elyan, I get that you're suspicious of me, but your friend is about to undergo a very dangerous ritual that could summon a very evil being and could potentially put him in harm's way. So I guess what I'm saying is, like, get over yourself, because I'm trying to help you. He says, you don't have to let me in all the way, because I get you're still hung up on that for some fucking reason, whatever. Just say my name before the ritual starts and I'll observe it through your eyes.
Like, the most conflicted look passes over his face and he just nods.
Okay, so you'll say compassion before it starts to let me know?
Yeah, I'll, yes.
Okay. Alright, well, I literally am trapped, so I'll be waiting. You should probably wake up. And then, abruptly, that is exactly what happens. You jerk awake, and, you have that delirium of you're conscious, but you're not quite awake, and everything is still coming into focus. And the first thing that you notice is Leander's head on your shoulder.
Aww.
He is sound asleep, just kind of curled up next to you.
I tug him closer.
That seems to wake him up. His eyes sort of open. He yawns, but, and when he looks up at you, like, you've been in this position before. You've had the early morning post-sex sleepiness. And normally the usual reaction is a big ol', like, shit-eating smile.
Yeah.
Because, like, yeah, we just had sex. Fuck yeah. But of course, Leander is tranquil, so there's nothing on his face. He just looks up at you and he says, good morning.
Good morning.
Did you sleep well?
Yeah, I did.
Good. He stands up and he starts to get dressed. Very businesslike.
What? No kiss good morning?
Leander looks back at you and he says, is that what you were expecting?
Hoping.
You must forgive me. I have not had sex since before. I have forgotten the customs involved.
I can teach you.
There's no reaction on his face.
That was flirting.
Yes, I understand.
I grin anyway, and that's fine.
He doesn't grin back. He sits down next to you and he says, I'll be honest, I was hoping I could work you out of my system.
Oh.
No luck so far.
I can work with that.
He draws a couple fingers through your hair and he says, this will not be fair to you until I am no longer tranquil. And for that I apologize in advance.
I already told you. I don't
Yes,
mind.
but I don't think you understand. I cannot love you enough. Not as much as you deserve. Not as much as I would like to. And most vitally, Elyan, I cannot love you enough to keep myself whole. Do you understand what I'm saying? There is not enough of me to keep me together. I don't know how to explain it.
I can wait for you. It's okay.
He says, let's keep that optimistic streak. And then he stands up and he gets dressed.
I guess Elyan searches for his own clothing, which went God knows where.
No, it was with a tranquil, so they're probably neatly folded up on a chair somewhere. Sabrae.
Yes.
You're having a dream, too.
Oh, good.
You are in that familiar scene, the Dalish camp that's not quite yours and not quite Clan Llewellyn. The ones with the Aravels with the large, dark blue sails on them. And there are a couple people there. There are some faceless elven kids running around in every different direction. There is your brother, sort of sitting across from you on the fire, regaling some of the kids with a story. Like, he did that shit constantly. He was the storyteller in the clan. And that's normally, like, reserved for the keeper. Like, the keeper is the one who's supposed to pass down the stories. But the keeper always tells, like, the boring stories. Like, they tell the story about, like, Fenrirel's, tricking the guns, and But, like, Ren was like, so let me tell you about this one fucking time that I saw a dragon fly overhead, and then I saw it deep fry a boar. It was cool as hell. So the kids always liked his stories better. Lannon is there as well. He seems to be the keeper of this strange little clan. Like, he's got a keeper's staff in one hand, and he is bent over a table, and he seems to be doing some sort of arcane work of some kind. And overall, the scene is kind of like like, it's understated, but it's kind of nice.
It's like the first non-nightmare I've had in a very long time.
Another thing about Lennon, he's got a Valisline now.
What?
You actually remember it now that you're in the Fade. It's a little clearer. The first time you met him, back during the Arlathen, he had, his Valisline was dedicated to Mythal. Mythal is her pantheon is like justice, motherhood. Mythal is very typical for keepers and firsts to honor with their Valisline.
Okay. Am I, like, lucid, or...?
You are, like, you're not lucid in the sense that you know this is a dream, but you can walk around. You've got free will.
Okay. I think I want to go sit by the fire and listen to my brother tell stories, because I think that I love that. That's that's a little brother thing that you love to do.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and the story is definitely, like, it's 90% complete bullshit. Like, he takes a story that's like, oh, this is like a dragon sign. Like, there's a dragon cave somewhere nearby. And he takes that too. And then we saw the dragon swoop down out of the sky and fucking eat a sheep whole, and it was awesome.
I'm, like, listening avidly. I'm like, yeah, I was there next to him. Like, nudging the kid next to me.
Oh, totally. He was definitely there. From next to you, you hear a voice say, is he always like this? Making up bullshit?
I, like, laugh, and without even turning around, I'm just like, yeah, that's Ren for you. You gotta love his stories. Everybody likes him better than the Keeper, so...
The voice says, Ren is his name.
I turn.
Yeah, it's a familiar face. That first dream that you had after the explosion in the middle of Minrathous, after you were captured by slavers, that toweringly tall, stern-looking elf is sitting next to you, leaning back on his palms, looking very casual, just sort of watching the scene around him. He says, Ren. Never heard a name like that. I don't think I actually caught your name.
Oh. I have a question. How much, so, like, do I believe that, like, in this dream, do I feel like this is my clan, this is real life?
You could, if you want to make an attempt to become lucid, you can roll willpower self-discipline.
Okay, I'll try that.
A 10, the only thing you know about, like, you don't know that you're in a dream yet. The only thing that you can recognize is that he is not a member of your clan, and you can tell that, 1, because you don't recognize him, and 2, because he doesn't have a Valisline.
Okay. I think I started shrugging him and I'm like, it's a Yariel, stranger. What's yours?
I'm Justice.
I think I pause and I sort of squint my eyes at him. Well, now that's a name I haven't heard.
He says, it might not translate exactly well. You see, back where I come from, we aren't given names so much as we're given titles, sort of demonstrations of who we are in the form of a word. He says, and I chose Justice, long ago.
I cock my head and I say, where are you from, stranger?
He says, well, I was born in Arlathan.
So he has my full attention now. Like, I just sort of turn, like, I'm, like, fully facing him. And I say, I don't think I heard you correctly. From where?
Arlathan.
That's just not possible. Oh, it's a funny joke, friend. I clap him on the shoulder.
He cants his head to the side and he says, why is it not possible?
It's been... surely you know, it's been destroyed for years.
Has it? You know, I've been in your head for a while now, and I've heard them talking about it, but I haven't been paying a lot of attention.
You've been in my what?
Yeah. It's at the point where I probably should have known your name before now, but in my defense, no one ever calls you by your given name.
I think I stumble backwards at this point. Like, I'm standing up, and I'm, like, trying to, like, instinctively reaching for, like, a weapon, because this is weird as fuck shit.
Yeah, go ahead and roll another willpower check.
Okay.
There we go. That's a roll. So yeah, now that you have heard this really weird bullshit that he's just said, it snaps you into the room thinking, wait, this is a dream. Like, obviously it's a dream. You don't have a clan anymore. Clan Sabrae is dead. Also, Ren is not that lucid, and Lennon does not have a Valisline, and also, what the hell is happening?
I'm, like, blinking at him in surprise, and I take a step back, and I'm trying to, like, will a weapon into my hands.
It doesn't really work so well for non-mages. Like, if you were a mage, I'd be like, yeah, a weapon appears in your hand right away, because mages can do that shit anyway. But he kind of stares at you as you are groping for a weapon that you don't have, and he says, what's the problem?
The problem is this is clearly a dream, and you are clearly some sort of demon.
He says, no, I'm not a demon.
A ghost?
It's closer. He says, no, I am Justice, like I said. I figured now would be a good time to introduce myself properly, now that we've been working together for a while.
We've been working when did we ever agree to work together? What is going on? Get out of my head!
He says it's a little late for that. You invited me in.
The dots are they're like coming together. You see like a like a look. It's like it's taking a while, but like as everything's crystallizing, and he goes, "Oh no."
He says, it's really okay. Like, I've enjoyed myself so far. I liked the part where you killed those slavers. That was great. You can do more of that.
I'm like staring at him warily and keeping like a big 6-foot distance. I mean, I do like killing slavers.
Same.
But I don't particularly like strangers inside of my brain.
He says, well, that's why I came to introduce myself, friend. Yariel, right? And he stands up. He's extremely tall. He's got to be like 6'5". He's enormous. Elves don't usually get this tall.
Yeah, I was like, for an elf dude, what?
Oh god, yeah, and I'm like 5 or something, so this is particularly bad. Yariel. Indeed.
He says, Yariel, I've enjoyed my time with you. I like your spirit. I like your spunk. I love that you kill slavers. Again, big fan of the murdering slavers thing. And he says, I think we could put our heads together and come up with a few new tricks. What do you say?
I suppose that depends on what you have in mind.
How does exploding someone from the inside sound?
It sounds like magic.
Well, yeah, but, I could do it through you. It's fine.
It sounds like dangerous magic, like the magic that killed my clan.
He cants his head to the side and he says, oh, right, Meryl.
I growl, like instinctively at the name.
And he says, I'm not sure where you got this strange fear of magic, my friend. You're right, magic is dangerous. You know what else is dangerous? And he pulls off this huge broadsword over his back. He says, swords are dangerous. All weapons are dangerous if you don't know how to use them. And he says, but and he points the tip of the broadsword at his own chest, and he says, I have been doing this magic for 3,000 years.
As what? Who are you? I need an explanation for what you're doing here, what you want.
He says, I am Justice.
You keep saying that, but it doesn't mean anything.
He says, it does if you stop to consider it, Yariel. He says, I took the name Justice for a reason. It is all that is inside of me now. It is all that I am. It is all that I can be. I want justice.
I think I stop to consider. All I seek is justice for what was done to the innocent folk of my clan.
And he inclines his head and he says, and so do I. And he says, but what you want, what I'm beginning to suspect, having gotten to know you a little better, what you're after is not so much justice as it is vengeance. Am I wrong?
Are they any different? I say dismissively.
He says, yes, and it is very important that you understand the distinction between justice and vengeance.
I do not understand. If my enemies are dead through my own hand, surely that is justice.
Justice, he says, is the punishment of a crime. Vengeance, he says, is an emotional reaction. You need to separate as much as possible your own emotions from what you need to do. He says, trust me, I understand what it's like to lose everything. And I'm here to tell you, it's not what you want. What you want is justice. What your heart desires is vengeance. And you need to reconcile them before we go any further with this. And he puts a hand on Yariel's shoulder and he says, do you want to learn how to explode a slaver from the inside?
There's a very, confused look on Yariel's face. Because, yes, of course he does.
That sounds cool as fuck, yeah.
Sounds amazing. But also he was told to be careful. So you see him look, up, and he's like, How do I know that you're not evil?
He kind of looks at you in confusion and he says, I am Justice.
Good enough for me.
So you wake up, Yariel, and you feel a little bit stronger. And you feel it's strange, you feel a strange sort of almost tingling in your fingertips. It's not unpleasant. It's kind of rad, actually. And you feel intense. You feel vital. You feel a connection to something that you didn't even know was there. And it feels cool. Like, you're ready to fucking dish some justice.
Excellent. I'm gonna go get up and do some, like, training exercises outside.
Yeah. You come down the stairs, and everyone is around at breakfast. Well, almost everyone. You know that Maevaris and Zevran and Telgen and Kasaanda were going out to meet the Arishok. It looks like they haven't gotten back yet. They're probably on their way home. But there's Leander and Lannan and Elyan and Dorian all gathered around the table, and they're talking, and Lannan looks like bullshit. Like, he has an enormous cup of coffee, and he's like snarling at anyone who gets too close.
Does he have big sunglasses on?
Oh my god.
He has fantasy sunglasses on, yeah.
I think I pause, and I'm like, for the first time in a long time, I'm in a good mood. And I'm like, good morning, everybody.
Elyan's head snaps up at that.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever said good morning to anyone.
Lennon makes us sound like a very angry dog and takes a sip of tea.
Elyan looks at you just like suspiciously. Are you sick?
No, I just feel... you see him, like, he does that thing where you're, like, stretching your arms and, like, moving in a circle. I'm just, like, yeah, I just feel good this morning. Like, I'm gonna get something done. I, like, turn to look at Lannan. What's your problem?
I don't like mornings. He takes another really long sip of tea. Dorian's like, yeah, he's always been this way. It's fine. It's a feature, not a bug.
I just sort of roll my eyes and take a seat.
He leans across and says, Lannan, Minu, could you hand me a piece of toast?
He blinks at you blearily. He says, what?
Toast, please? You give him a charming smile.
Lennon does not, like, it's not entirely clear if he can even identify toast in a lineup of various foods at the moment.
It's made better by the fact that the toast is probably within arm's reach of me.
Eventually, like, he stares at the assembled food for a while, and then he eventually slides the toast over at you.
Thank you. I smile cheerily. How did you sleep last night?
What?
Sleep? Last night? Was it good? Sleep?
I'm just imagining the eyebrows waggling, going up and down, like,
yeah.
Dorian, of course, is probably the first to catch on. He's sitting at the other end of the table, looking between Lannan and Elyan, with his eyes narrowed.
I am flirting with the danger zone here.
Lannan stares at you in confusion for a while, and he says, fine.
I slept wonderfully, and I'm putting jam on the toast, just slathering it on.
Lannan is, like, slowly starting to remember what you talked about on the way back from Weiss House.
Oh, it was the best night's sleep I've had in a long time.
And Dorian sitting there just, the temperature of the room just dropped 20 degrees.
I think I'm looking at Dorian now, like, I don't understand why he's getting so cranky. I'm like, because I'm in a good mood, I'm like, Dorian, are you okay?
Dorian doesn't answer you. He says, how did you sleep, Elyan? I am very curious.
Oh, now I look at Elyan.
I just plaster just a smirk on my face. Oh, excellent.
It is at this point that you probably notice, Sabrae, and also anyone else assembled at the table, that Elyan's sporting a couple hickeys.
Oh, okay. I'm, like, squinting at him, and I'm like, And it suddenly I remember that they were supposed to sleep in the same room. And you see, like, my eyes narrow further, and I'm like,
It's still, like, he's almost there. He's almost figured it out. He's just a little too dumb.
And I look back at Elyan and I say, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know the answer to Dorian's question.
With company, obviously.
Lennon chokes.
I narrow my eyes at you, and I get up suddenly, like, really, really obviously and angrily, and I go,
We didn't.
I have to be outside, and I just go outside.
Oh god. Dorian is like, okay, so I'm gonna need 5 reasons not to set you on fire. Lennon's like, Dorian, we did it! I don't, well, why? I know why, I just don't want to.
It's okay. So, I'm trying to make Sabrae jealous. I'm trying to get these two idiots together.
Against my expressed, I don't know. and Dorian is sitting there and is like, okay, so let me get this straight. You know that if you went after Lannon, I would set you on fire, but you think it would be okay with me if fucking Sabrae went after my best friend in the whole world?
You didn't see them on the road. They're so perfect for each other.
Sabrae, who instantaneously made a deal with the demon. Lana says, I'm not gonna. Nothing is, no, what? Stop. I would appreciate it if all of you stopped talking about me like I wasn't here.
Sorry, I told... It seemed like a good idea.
He says, well, it's not. Sabrae's an idiot.
I mean, yes.
It's not wrong.
But he's a handsome idiot.
That's
not wrong.
No comment, Dorian says. And then right at this moment, Iron Bull comes thundering down the stairs and he says, agreed, who's Sabrae?
The angry elf that went that away?
Probably didn't get a good look at it, but I assume you're probably right. Hey, Kadan! He thumps Dorian on the back and sits down next to him. Dorian says, Bull, you will not believe the bullshit that that this bard, he says, pointing to Elliot, this bard is conducting in my own house. And Iron Bull's like, no, I picked it up by context. I think it's a great idea. And it's like, can we all just stop? Can we all stop, please?
Poor Lannon.
And Iron Bull's like, honestly, after that dickhead Solus left, he needs someone nice. Oh my god! Hey friends, Tessa here. If you're desperate to hear the next episode, chances are good that you can by joining our Discord server. We post links to all episodes in pre-release, and you can even chat with us and listen live as we record. Join us by going to bit.ly/CFCDiscord. For more information on the show, character biographies, and links to social media, head to our website, critfail.club or critfailclub.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr. Crit Fail Club does not advertise at all, so if you like what you hear, tell a friend who might also like it, make a post on social media about it, or leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Full episodes are available on our YouTube channel, bit.ly/CFC channel, or wherever you get your podcasts.